In this video, we're going to take a quick look at the element of the players, and we're going to examine the smallest sizes, 1 versus 1, 2v2, and 3v3. The important thing to remember is that when you add or take away players from these small sizes, the game changes dramatically. So let's see exactly what that means. Here you have 1 versus 1, and what's being learned here is that the blue player is obviously working on their technical skills in attacking play, and the red player is working on their defensive skills, dribbling, defending, tackling, things like that. The blue player gets around, can even work on passing or shooting on a small scale. Now the roles change, and the players are engaged in a learning activity. Now, one of the things that we said earlier is that the players with the ball, especially these younger players, have to make a decision: do I pass or do I dribble? In 1 versus 1, there's no decision to make. The player with the ball, you don't have a choice. You have to go. So there's a limit to the learning that can be done in this form. Now let's add a second player. Now, besides putting 2 extra players on the field in 2 versus 2, what's actually being learned is teamwork. The player with the ball now can solve problems cooperatively with a teammate. Now the situation where do I pass or do I dribble comes into play, and it's a reality. So what's this player going to learn? Well, as a second player, they're going to learn when to stay behind the ball and when to go in front of the ball. Now, contrary to popular belief, for most players, or for most players' parents, and many coaches, you do not simply run ahead of the ball blindly. That gets you into dead ends and is a bad habit to learn. Players need to pick the moment when they go forward. It's one of those mini moments. Now, how about the team that's defending? Well, we can play pressure, have some cover. The ball swings across. What do we want to do now? So it's a completely different game in the sense that now at 2 versus 2, it's the smallest form of the game where teamwork, team play is involved. So now we're going to add the third player, go to 3 versus 3. Now what's evolved is that the teams are going to end up playing in some kind of a shape. Yes, I know that the amoeba system is probably the most well adapted to system by young kids, but eventually they have to grow into some kind of shape, and 3 versus 3 is ideal for this because it's the smallest shape possible. Now the 2 players give way to 3, and what you find is now you not only have the 2 here or the 2 there or 2 there, but you have a player in the center. Whether that center is behind the players or above is going to be immaterial. That's all part of that principle of mobility. The players move, the shape will shift, it will move to all different parts of the field, but eventually they're going to be finding themselves playing this way more and more. Now here's another important developmental element in 3 versus 3. In 2 versus 2, the player with the ball and their teammates can basically lock eyes and forget about everything else. It's rare when they not only pay attention to each other, but they take the defenders in. Now the problem gets to be, these 2 players off the ball not only have to pay attention to this player, but they have to pay attention to each other. Because in this situation here, if we want one player to drop behind the ball, who will it be? Will it be him? Will it be her? Will it be both? If they don't communicate, big problems are going to happen. The same thing can be said for the red team. The nonverbal communication, as well as the verbal communication, has to be learned, and this is a great form to learn it in 3 versus 3. Now we've already looked quite extensively at 4v4. So in the next video on playing with the elements with the players, we're going to look at 5v5 and 6v6.